Hello, everyone. Welcome. I am Ananda Rose. Thank you for joining me. Today, I have the wonderful, beautiful Claire Johnson with me. Hello, Claire.
Hey Rose, how are you?
I'm good, thank you. How are you going?
Yeah, pretty good. Pretty good. Just managing the energies
Well,
as best I
friends.
can.
Yes, absolutely. Well, friends, today Claire and I are talking, and we're talking about her latest offering to the collective. But before we get to it, Claire, tell us about you. So, those people who have not watched us talking before can know who you are and what you do.
Yeah. So, and it's been a while. I think maybe we did the Mount Shasta activation back in
Yeah, December?
December. So, I mean, I think it's been a while. Lots happened since then.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I for any yeah, I'm sure not everybody knows. So when I came back from Egypt in October, I was guided to start a a, a YouTube channel where I post light language transmissions. And so that was really outside of my I was like well, I had not I did not see any social media future. So anyway, so that happened. And so I've been posting, one every couple of weeks since then. And I I launched my business, my energy healing business in January, and started off with distance Reiki sessions, but they kind of morphed into something more than that. So originally, they were distance sessions where I would, do the healing and then send you a PDF summary at the end when I was finished. But now they've changed, which kind of a little more flexible, but over a Zoom call now. And so a couple of months into my the launch of my business, Behind the Veil Healing. That's what it's called. And I was um, I was guided to sign up for multidimensional soul integration practitioner training. But the prerequisite, I had to sign up for a cohort first. So I signed up for multidimensional. My guides, I was just this is my team of light was like, you need to sign
Okay.
up for this. I didn't even know what multidimensional soul integration was. Never even heard of it. And so, but I just jumped right in and learned more about what that process involves and integrated a couple of soul aspects. And then after that, I signed up for the practitioner training um, and posted that as an offering. Let's see, on the solstice actually.
Yeah. Yeah.
But even since then, uh, those sessions morphed a little bit. And so it was just multidimensional soul integration, but now it's actually a little bit more than that. It's a bit of an energy healing with the soul integration tap um,
Wow.
included with that. So
Mm.
I'll explain more about that later. But I have pretty much just been focusing on that, getting the going through the practitioner training, spending time in my garden, which was really helped. I went garden crazy this year and just it really expanded my garden from last year um and have just been spending a lot of time in the garden. That's a job in and of itself, but helps with the grounding.
Yeah,
I have no
absolutely.
no doubt that that's helping me navigate these energies. I mean,
Mm.
I'm feeling them, but they're coming through like I'll have a headache before I go to sleep, but it'll be gone before I wake up. by the time I wake up. My hand will ache. By the time I wake up, it's gone. Or um, recently I had my hips and my lower back were just like for days just aching, aching,
Mm,
aching,
wow.
and I knew it was an upgrade. And then just pushing through that. But for the most part, you know, it's just waves of different symptoms that, that they leave almost as soon as they arrive. And I know that being out in the garden has definitely helped with that,
Mm,
um, for sure. But
yeah.
uh, yeah, that's
Yes.
pretty much
Well, thank you for
wrapping
sharing
up.
that, Claire, because current energies at the moment, they're just rife. And for me, I walk the dog every day, and for me, that's my grounding. I've come to realize that, it was, and we have both, we've been working in the third dimension. We have professionals in our professionals because we've got degrees. We've been working. You were working as a school counselor at one point. I remember you saying, and I was doing accounting
School, yeah, school
and
social worker, but yeah,
social worker, school
close.
social worker, not counselor.
Yeah.
And so I mean, and what a big job. And then here we are talking about energy stuff. And I mean, if someone had said to me even 5 years ago, we'd be doing this and we'd be sensitive to the energies and relaying that, I would have thought, no, I can't see myself doing that, man. No, that I love my career. That's it. But here we are, and we're going through this and navigating it. And for me, I feel woozy sometimes, and that's what I need my grounding for. Like I just need to be able to hit the ground, touch the ground. Thank you for sharing that. I really love that you are doing gardening. I'm so like impressed with this whole gardening thing because it's so important to be eating. It's so important to be living off the land and appreciating the earth because of whatever's going on in our world and with our food, for example. Food is no longer as organic and as authentic as it should be, as Mother Nature intended for it to be. And so when you do that, you're taking charge of your life. You're taking charge of your life and saying, well, I'm going to be sure about I'm the guardian of what goes into my body, really. And I just think that in itself is such a big thing to be doing.
Yeah, and I was guided to take a fermenting class,
Mm,
and and I'm growing mushrooms too.
nice.
And it's all connected to the work I'm doing, it turns out. And the fermentation, like I gotta tell you, like there's just it's an energetic, our bodies, like I've been guided to just go nuts with the fermenting and
Okay.
really like adjusting even in client sessions. There's been the balancing of our microbiome like within the body and connecting to the mycelium network
Hmm.
um in the earth. And they've come through in sessions, the mycelium mycelium beings, I guess. And
Yes.
um, yeah, it's just pretty wild. I mean, it's all I can't I can't explain the whole thing because I don't fully understand it, but I do know that there's it's all connected.
Mm,
The garden, the mushrooms, the fermenting of the foods, and the sessions that I offer, and it's just I'm starting to see the dots connect, and I'm just
yes.
like,
Yeah.
when I connect those, it's just like mind blowing. Just the
Mm.
stuff that's like, what is this? Like, it's so much bigger than we can imagine, like what's going on. And I got to tell you, like, and I'll, and for those watching, I'll explain more about this, but one sole aspect that I integrated, the amount of information I received from one and how that impacts my sessions. And that's like one of 13 that I know of that are part
Wow.
of this healer template that I have of
Mm.
soul aspects. And like, so each one carries, these frequencies, these gifts, these technologies and whatnot that I'm integrating into my being and my work. And like, ooh, man, it is something else. It's just wild. So,
Wow.
and it's pretty awesome. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's just so much. It's so much bigger than we can comprehend. Um,
yeah.
so very
So
exciting.
speaking of that, tell us about this new offering you have. And because
Yeah.
you called it a soul thread. I was listening to your video
Hmm.
about it again this morning. I was listening to it whilst I was getting ready. You call it a soul thread. I just want to say before I carry on with that, you know, the mycelium light language transmission you put out, I shared it with a few friends. And I'll tell you why it's really interesting because recently I've come into my awareness of the mycelium, the mushrooms, and I've taken a little bit of that because you know you can get it here in New Zealand in the form of capsule, and I can't. I've discovered I can't have a whole one because I'm kind of sensitive, more sensitive than usual. But if I have a little bit of it, it makes me feel very calm and zen and in a happy space. But also, I feel like the pain in my body is gone. You know, because I still have pain from time to time with the arthritis, especially in my feet and that. But I just feel that that's its quality. It actually brings that freedom of pain, and you know, I mean, it's like on this on the borderline of is it is it okay to have it or not? But I think if if you know what you're doing, if anybody's if the people that you get it from are responsible and all of that, you'll be fine. You know, the mushrooms. Um, and it's not encouraging anybody to take anything, dosing or whatever, because you know, you people just remember that you know we do. That's not it. It's just saying that these all these things are plant medicine. Of benefit to us. So thank you talking about the mycelium because I wanted to say that to you.
Yeah,
Mm,
and to be clear, the mushrooms I'm growing are not magic mushrooms.
I'm sure they're
So I
not.
just
I'm sure
want
they're not.
yeah, and yeah, but yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, yeah, I can talk about that. So
Yes. Go on.
um the the offerings, the new offering is called Soul Thread Healing and Integration. And it came through in my own where I was the client in a soul integration session, and I could see how I work with the energy body, someone else's energy body. And what I saw this as soul threads. They're like these threads that they're woven into our energy field. They're our experiences, our energy, our, we could have they're supposed to flow, and just kind of have a general flow within our energy field, but there will be threads that are come I could see like leaks where they're just shooting out of the body, or where we put blocks in place that are preventing the threads from flowing due to trauma, wounds, energetic distortions that are from past or parallel lifetimes that are bleeding over into this lifetime, so essentially the session starts off with a soul thread healing. So whatever comes through um, for like the first 15, 20 minutes. And so we start with that. And um, and then once that is finished and I have the client lay down energetically, and the healing space you know forms around the person. Sometimes it's something really cool and sometimes it's just a table, but
Mm,
then we travel to the client's akashic records, and again, that akashic record space just kind of develops. Clients can sometimes it's a conversation, so but it doesn't have to be. I understand like not everybody's intuitive gifts have fully come online and not everybody's confident with them yet. Um, so I can lead the entire session, but I like to include the client as well, and if they are sensing anything or seeing anything or whatnot, have them, you know, include them in the session and so they can talk about what they're seeing. So we travel to the Akashic Records, and then there's a period of calibration that goes on there. Soul aspects show up, and what soul aspects are, they are other versions of you that from a parallel or a past lifetime. They may be earthbound human, they may be galactic. They may look humanoid, they may look like an energy. Um, and they have they have gifts, they have different gifts. And so we are essentially pulling them in, not pulling them in, but integrating them into our energetic being because we are multidimensional beings. We're meant to be multidimensional beings. And
Mm.
so they help us tap into that those multidimensional aspects. Like um so we usually multiple soul aspects will show up. Sometimes not. It just depends. Sometimes they're there just to kind of witness and hang out, but there's always at least one soul aspect that steps forward to be integrated at this time. And sometimes that soul aspect may come forward and need some healing of their own. They may be a little fragmented. And so we will walk through that before the integration occurs. And then they have their own way of integrating they pick a certain chakra or body part. And then we do the integration and another calibration afterwards. And then after that's complete, we'll tune in with the soul aspect and find out more information about where they're from, what their gifts are, what they would prefer to be called. Um, and then I have suggestions for how to continue to work with that soul aspect to integrate them
Mm.
afterwards. And so I'll work with that soul aspect to channel an AI image. For instance, I have a couple of them here. These are both mine. So this is my angelic creatrix soul aspect. And this is the AI image of a galactic elemental. These are
Wow.
AI images that were created for me as a client. And but I do the same for my clients. And so I and so those pictures can so I have them on my altar. I put them in these little cheap frames from the Dollar Tree that you just slide them in there. You can put them as a background on your phone, and it helps connect with that soul aspect. And then through meditation, connecting with the soul aspect to find out more about them, just like you would someone you never met before.
Mm.
Um, what was your life like? What did you have guides? What were your gifts? What were your roles? What were tell me more. Is there a certain crystal you like to connect with, a certain color? I have a whole soul aspect playlist because all of mine have picked songs for us to connect. And so,
Wow.
and they've all been assigned a journal. And lately, each one has been coming through meditation every day, and I'm finding out more information about how they're coming through with my sessions. Because, like I said, I have this template, a healer template of soul aspects, and I believe there's at least 13 of them
Yeah.
that I've integrated. And so each one has been coming through to tell me more information. So, um, just like my galactic elemental is very like really bringing through the connection to the earth, the minerals, the mycelium network, and that's also connecting healing for the digestive system and the microbiome, which is where that whole fermentation thing comes in, and it's pretty wild.
Mm.
So that's the soul thread healing and integration session. I do also offer multidimensional energy healing sessions, which are also done via Zoom, and those are just energy healing. So
Mm.
whether you want chakra balancing, just your, I wouldn't say standard because I speak light language, I incorporate sound frequencies. There's a lot going on there.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it's energy healing without the soul integration piece. It's just a much more in-depth energy healing, and a little different from the soul thread. So,
Mm, mm,
and sometimes too in the soul thread sessions, like those aren't necessarily won't seem connected, but for whatever reason, that particular soul thread, like it helps prepare for the integration of the soul aspect that's going to come forward. They may not seem connected or directly connected, but there's a there's a reason why these soul threads, come forward to be healed or what have you prior to that
mm,
um, soul
mm,
aspect integration. So
mm. Wow, Claire, thank you. That's all amazing. I really love your work. And before we went to, just for the benefit of our audience, before we went to record, we had some energy time together. And I just, this is it. What I always loved about you is how easily and how quickly you can connect and how precise and on point your connections are with your guides. So, and that for me speaks of sovereignty and authenticity. And that's always how we need to operate. Very, very important. So so you've explained what soul thread healing is. You've explained what you do, and you've explained how you do it because you're doing it on Zoom. And you've got all your other sessions that you do on Zoom as well, which is really wonderful. I'm going to put the links to your website and to your YouTube channel and to the little video that you put out a few weeks ago or on Solstice. You said about the soul thread healing, and if anybody wants to contact you, there's all of that information. And by the way, I love that video. I loved how you looked in the video. Very beautiful, very lovely. Now,
thanks.
I just wanted to say, you were talking about earlier, you said a one-liner, and and correct me if I'm wrong in how I've interpreted, but you said when you started it out, it was where you started out doing this and it was there, and you found over time in my head, I heard it's evolving to some other things that you didn't know at the beginning. All right, so how is that? I know, how has it evolved? Have you already, is that part of what you've just told us, or is there something you can explain about that evolution?
Well, it's just I'm a certified Reiki master practitioner, and it from the very beginning, even when I was getting my certification, I I was doing energy healing with light language before I ever got to my Reiki 2 class. I mean, I started speaking light language a year ago, and the next month in August, I was doing energy healing
That's
through
right.
the light language in when I was at this on some old friends that from previous lifetimes. I didn't know at the time, but it turns out we know each other. Um, and I didn't know what I was doing, but I was doing something, and it was all done. Everybody was safe. I did
Yeah,
make sure that nobody was being harmed, and it wasn't until my second Reiki class that I realized, like, oh, okay, this is what I've been doing. I've just been intuitively doing healing through the light language and the light codes. I also do light language through my hands. Um, and it's not always words. There's always sometimes the light language comes out and lots of fun sounds like
yeah, the
I
tones
think
come
in that
out.
mushroom, I think that was it, the mushroom and mycelium transmission. I think that one came out like a little more like sounds
Okay.
than the words. But yeah, so when I first launched my business, there were distance Reiki sessions, but it became very clear that like I was doing more than just Reiki in those sessions. And so I changed the name to multidimensional energy healing sessions because that's what I was guided to change them to. And the format stayed the same. Um, they were done just distance, and then, like I said, a client would get the PDF summary. Um, but now I it's through my experience with the soul integration sessions that I realize what I can do with the energy healing sessions.
Mm, mm,
And so recently I changed the format of those to just be Zoom sessions, which I didn't think I was going to do because I was like, I do a lot in these sessions. I bang on drums. I do like, how am I going to do that on Zoom? And I didn't see myself doing it, but now I get it. Like now it's you know, my team doesn't give me anything more than I can handle or see at the time, you
yeah.
know? Um, and I can appreciate that because sometimes I'm not ready for the information
Mm,
that, like the information I have now about what my sessions look like, I would not have been ready back in January or February to for them to say, "Oh no, you're going to be doing or you're going to be doing energy healing over Zoom." I would have been like, I don't know.
mm, mm,
Yeah.
yeah.
Um, so it's just evolved.
Yeah.
And it'll continue to evolve. I know it will. Um, and I'm open to that.
Mm,
One thing that has been brought to my attention lately is that I I have historically been a very rigid, like, this is how we do it. Like in this, like, do,
yeah.
like very logic, based, very like, you start here and then you go here. This is the path that you take. Man, I was like the logic queen for years. And it's like, and I was rode that, wore that badge with honor, like, you know, and man, it's so different now. And so even with my work, it is, I gotta, I gotta let that go. Even the
Mm,
framework by which, like, the Reiki sessions are more than just Reiki sessions, and I had to let that go
mm,
very quickly. Just like the multidimensional energy healing session and multidimensional, sorry, multidimensional soul integration sessions um, have now morphed to the soul thread healing and integration. Um, like, and that happened very quickly. But had I been like in this frame of mind, like it has to be this way and there's no other way to do it, um, I wouldn't have seen that and been open
mm,
and receptive to seeing that information. And one thing about, I'm so happy that the person I was learning from was saying, like, it doesn't have to be the same. Like it can be called something else. It can be, you know, it may look very different. You may do multiple sessions. You may do, who knows? Like, gave a bunch of different examples of what it might look like. And then
mm,
she's like, you might come up with something completely different that I didn't mention. And so
mm,
it was just really nice to hear that flexibility and, and be like, oh, wow, this could change,
yeah.
And so, and it did. So, so yeah.
Mm. Good, good. It's good because I think it's forcing us to be to deprogram. Because when you think about doing things like a certain way and that's how we do it and that's we're going to follow protocol on it or tick all the boxes that are required so that we get an outcome, then we sort of what are we doing? We programmed. We're making sure that everything falls into that box and you're going to tick every box with it. But that's not how energy works. And that's not how we as humans don't work like that. We've been, we've been programmed to work like that, but we are individuals. Every person, every being has got a different soul history. We all have that in common, but we don't have the same history. We might be part of a soul family, but we still have our individual soul journey. And so, because I found when I do light language sessions, like some things that come out there, I didn't know before. Some things the way they go, like I just have no clue. And that's the thing. You take care of the person, you explain what's gonna happen, you follow through, all those basic things like how they say Say what you're going to do and do what you're going to, or what you said you were going to do. You know, teach, say what you're teaching and teach what you said you were going to teach, kind of thing, and have your outcome, right? Ensure all the goals are met or you achieve those goals in the time that you've given. Yeah, that's the thing, right? But you can do all of that. That's all part of the process. But outcomes, what you're learning can be so different. I learn more from the people I do work with. You know, that's how I come to realize that I'm evolving that way too. That's why things are that those people that come to us for these sessions actually help expand us and for us to see things that we didn't see before or how we do it a certain way. They might say something, might ask a question, and so we evolve in our work that way. So one of these days we're probably not going to talk about work. We just say we're going to talk about, we're not going to call it work. We're going to talk about something else. Just at the moment, because we're here and that's what we call it. We're saying work.
E- Even when I said work, I was like, I don't like that word.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
like,
yeah, yeah.
but yeah, it's one thing I do want to mention though about these sessions is and this isn't our teacher said this and I was like, man, that really resonates with me. She said that it it has gotten to the point where like the whole reason that this soul integration uh modality came forward is because there are so many people that are waking up and are raising their vibration, their frequency, um, we are moving to new levels of consciousness that our standard energy healing practices, while helpful and still necessary, are not enough for for people, for a certain group of people. And it's not to say that like, oh, I'm farther along than you, or you know, or you know, whatever. It's not like that. And there's no hierarchy here. It's just it's evolving to where the the energy healing that's needed is we have to step into another layer of
Yeah.
that multidimensionality for us to
Mm,
be able to get to that fifth density, to be able to get to that new earth frequency.
mm,
Because your chakras might be balanced, and but you have no you've got 27 soul aspects out there with gifts that can be integrated into your being that you can tap into and that can help you on your spiritual journey. And that's not going to come in a Reiki session.
mhm.
That's not going to come in acupuncture or a massage
Yeah.
or what have you. And that's just because that's not going to happen. So that's where this whole modality came from. Um, and it's, I have soul aspects that do this modality. They may call it something different, but like that's what they're doing wherever
Mm,
they were,
yeah.
and I mean, I have a master gardener soul aspect that helps me in my garden. I tap
Yes,
into her
yes,
often. And
yes,
so she was
yes.
a human on Earth, and so I asked for her guidance a lot. And so yeah, I mean it's a next step. It's if anybody listening to this is feeling like they're they're stuck, that they are that they just have hit a wall with their progress or their journey, or they're just like, man, they feel like there's just something else that they need, or I don't know.
Mm,
It's just
mm,
the usual sessions that they're having with people have not been doing it for them. There's just still
yeah.
something else there. Um, then yeah, book a
Mm,
session because I guarantee you, there's something
yeah.
new doors will open in some form or fashion, which I think brings us to Rose. Like, you want to talk about
That's
your
exactly what I
experience?
was gonna say. That's
Yeah.
exactly what I was gonna say. I'm listening to you and I'm hearing, and there's a few things I need to say about this. And I want to talk about my session with you and what happened with me. And you have reminded me, firstly, you have reminded me that I can call in my warrior lady, my huntress. I can call her in. And I have, and this, what we're talking about, everybody, is when I did my, when Claire did a session with me, she gave me my person that came forth, my soul aspect that came forth. And she is something else. She's like, she looks like she's been through it, but she's ready to stand up and be counted. And don't take her on because she's just gonna give it to you. She's ready. She's done everything. If you look at her, she's like, she's done everything, right? She's like, I've been through the battles, but, and I look like this. You can see a scar on my face, but I look like this, and I'm ready for any more battles because I am invincible. I am fearless, and I'm gonna do it. And I am here. I am here to stand in my power and just do it because that's how I felt after doing that session. She came forward, and that's how I felt. But you have reminded me now that I can work with her. You have reminded me now that I can call in others and work with them. And that was like a that was the platform to jump off and to work more and do more of that. And when I can, I'll probably do more sessions with you because you've reminded me that yes, we are now going to another level. We're going to a level where yes, the Reiki is there if we need it. And many people, I had somebody say to me, they're not doing Reiki anymore because they don't know how further to go with it. They feel that there's something more. And Claire, I think you might have come up with that, what that something more is, because we can do Reiki, we can do acupuncture, we can do all of those things. But where our soul's concerned, I'm hearing more and more. We can call in those other aspects of ourselves. All those teams of light we're talking about that we work with us, they are our other selves in other dimensions. And we can call that one that helps you with technology. I have one that helps me with technology. That's helped me with technology for a long time. I mean, I didn't know how to do a thumbnail. That one taught me how to do a thumbnail. No kidding, no person. I didn't go and look up a YouTube video for it. My guide taught me how to do a thumbnail. So after our session, I just felt this empowerment. I felt this fearlessness. And I felt like I had some things coming my way that week following you and I having this session. And I tell you what, I just felt like, don't, I want to use the F word, but I won't. Don't mess with me because I'm ready to take any one of you on. That is who I am. I'm so coming into my Ariesness, if I dare say it. I'm hearing more and more how I need to embrace my Ariesness because many Aries people, because we're so forthright, because we like tell it like it is and we tell our truth, people make us feel ashamed of who we are. Because when you've messed with an Aries person and when they suspect you've messed with them, watch out because a fire is going to blow and you're going to hear things you didn't want to hear. And afterwards, it's over. But the point is, it comes out, and I'm just starting to feel it's okay to be me. It's okay to tell my truth. And even though we've been taught to be loving and to, you know, to, to be, to execute it in a loving way, the point is sometimes you can't execute things in a loving way. You need to call a spade a spade. You need to say what it is. And so I found that after our session, that's where I'm at. And honestly, if you listen to some of my radio shows at the moment, it's like I don't care anymore. I'm just like, I don't care about, well, I'm going to speak my light language on the radio, and I am going to talk about what's happening, currently in our world and why I think that and all of that. And I feel like it just gave me a new level of braveness. It helped me accept my braveness and realize that I'm at a point where I've been through all the battles that I've been through so far. And what it's given me is perseverance, understanding, wisdom, knowledge, all of that. And I can stand in my woman, divine, sacred feminine power and call it. And don't be afraid to say, be unapologetically yourself. Do not be sorry for being who yourself. That's my message from that session.
Speak your truth. Speak your truth and
Yeah,
be your authentic self.
yeah, yeah, absolutely. And so that's always been my motto in this time, in my life in general. Even if I couldn't say it like that, I knew I felt it like that. I knew when it didn't feel like that, that I was uneasy, right? And so um, when I think about how I feel now, I feel like I just know that I have to be true to myself. And those things in the past, even though I have that attitude, those things in the past, I still have times where I'll mollycoddle it or I'll sugarcoat it or whatever. And now I'm saying, well, I don't have to. I can just say, no, I don't want to do that. I don't feel that. And that makes me uncomfortable. And so because it's uncomfortable, I actually feel like it's not resonating with me. And so I'm not going to do that, you know. And so it's kind of given me a kind of that session with you has given me this liberation. I feel different. I actually shifted. I shifted and I moved forward. One of the things I want to say about Claire, and that in my time that I have found it, because whilst I'm doing this channel now for 2.5 years or something, I have been on my awakening journey for more than 10 years. In fact, I've always been partly awakened, even as a child. And Claire, I know now that you reflect on yourself, you know that about yourself too. But what I've come to realize is that many people that are awakening now don't have the number of years and the awakening experience like we would have had, right? So Claire, I don't know about how many years you've been going through the awakening experience, but last year, what one of the things I learned from our time together was people who are awakening in recent times, like say the last 5 years, they have come online with their tools. But the backstory of how they navigate with that, how they do that, how they respond from the personality perspective, or like, how do we do a daily practice, all of that is lacking. And so, but they came online with their tools. And so there are some of them that need to be supported from that back end, so to speak, of like a not back end, but the background of it, like to say, yeah, okay, being I need to understand all that, the nitty-gritty details of, okay, what does it mean to do mantra meditation, for example? What does it mean to do, like, if you're going to do your light language, what will help my light language come out? Well, toning will help your light language come out, that kind of thing. So I just feel that that's where that is. And we're so quickly now here where we're moving forward. Like you have been doing the work and you're talking about those 13 soul aspects of yourself that you're working with. That's like incredible.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a, and there's more. There's more, but those are the ones I'm working with at the
Yeah.
time,
Yeah.
And who knows? Who knows? Maybe more just drop in. I mean, some of them did. Some of them I didn't actually have to go through the whole process. I just like they just dropped in a dream,
Wow.
and then I figured out like, oh, that's what happened.
Mm.
Like,
Mm.
yeah. I mean, it was a dream. I was witnessing their life actually in that parallel reality, and from when they were about my age, except in that parallel reality they actually crossed to the other side in their 70s.
Wow.
And excuse me. And yeah, and so now they're like, all right, I'm here, let's integrate. And so that was, yeah, so some of them just drop in that way.
Mm. Mm.
but but yeah,
It
it's exciting, and it's so
very
fun to see
exciting.
what comes through.
Mm. Mm.
I love these sessions. They're just so, like, I don't know. And working with the soul aspects afterwards to generate the image and what comes through. I mean, I had one that came through. It's like a blue galactic being with a pilot's jacket.
Oh,
Like,
wow.
so I was like, I don't know if I'm gonna be able to do this one. And sure enough, we've managed. And like
S-
they're like, yeah,
Do you think it's
that's the
Arcturian?
image. I was like, I actually no, they weren't. They were
Good.
somewhere else.
Yeah.
Yeah, not. They were another galaxy actually entirely. So, but I think it was a galactic navigator, you
Oh,
know,
wow.
is what we came up with.
Yeah.
But it was amazing. I just was like, and that was somebody else's, so I won't go too much into that. But like that was yeah, from another galaxy. It was pretty cool. It was pretty cool.
Wow. Awesome.
They helped me come up with those images, and they tell me which one's okay to send to the client.
Mm,
So
yeah. It's not only the Arcturians that are blue beings, and I've been speaking to a few people this week that are telling me about they come from they're connecting with themselves from other galaxies at the moment, and there's planet names that we have not even heard of, and that they are getting downloads about. And that like here on Earth, we're not even talking about these galaxies. We haven't even heard about them. And so I just feel like we're on the precipice of something amazing. Like, and the esoteric teachers have been talking about July 2025, and the astrologers have been talking about July 2025 when we will have first contact. And I'm like, but we've already had first contact as individuals. We've had first contact. We didn't need them to be out there in the sky on a spaceship saying, Hallelujah, we are here. But, the other thing of the matter is that, they always say the saints are coming and we're waiting for them to appear. Well, freaking no. The saints are here. We are the saints. If we're gonna use that word, not that that's the right word to use. The saints have already been here. And now that we are all finding the different dimensional selves of us, the different aspects of ourselves in all these other dimensions and past lives and parallel lifetimes, we are the saints. That is why, power to the people. We are going to change this. Only we can change that, you know?
wow.
Yeah. Claire, anything else you want to say before we go?
No, I just feel a little light language coming through
Oh,
real
yes.
quick.
Thank you for reminding me because I knew that I had to ask you that. That you need to say something to us. We need to have a bit of energy with you before we say goodbye.
Yeah, just a quick one. They're like, I got my head's tingling. So it's just everybody just take a deep breath into your heart space and expand your heart space. And imagine a flower coming out and just opening to receive the information coming through and trust that you're receiving the message even though there's no translation. My soul to your soul, the message is received. Ara tatekia shumai atarake ai motorukushana ake tianania shutukutana akite ainu motarakashana aya. Atara setiana ashukutana katane isutuma karaki anashana. Taraki anabushkutar kia matiana setiana kuma. Motorukushana ai kanai. Utara sinitiana arakatashana arutukupatana arshe. Aikana e turkuma arakate ashamo oraketana aishutukuna isitiana itaramatana. Tiana kushna takiana kukorovo kushni. Asha tiana karaketiana shati atakiti sugotukuma arketi sini arketiana arketiana arketiana. Tarshatuna arketiana. Oshakatara ashatum akaye mosukumotukuma. Pishanarki arkitiana ashatiana autokushamatana etarakasatiana kutukumataya sitiana katana.
Hmm.
I am complete.
Thank you for that. I had a hibiscus flower opening up. And the hibiscus flower has this one stamen, and mine was pink. Hibiscus flower has a one stamen coming out, and there's this gold light coming through into the stamen and into my heart. So thank you for the golden lights and stars. I love it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Hey, it's just it's just a part of my life now. It's just I speak it all the time, seeing it constantly. My parents, they're just like, yeah, okay.
I love it. I love that there's so like, okay, like that's what you do.
Boyfriend's
Yeah.
just like, it's
Yeah.
just my second language at this point.
It
Like,
is, and it evolves. That's the thing, the beauty of light language is that it evolves. You can speak it to your pets, you can speak it to your children, if they're young children and they're not settling to sleep, all of that. And quite often it changes. And
I
yeah,
speak it
this
to my plants, my
yes.
seeds.
Speaking
the
to the
lizards
plants, they
outside.
love
Yeah.
it. Absolutely love it. And then, I know that because Regina, our orchard that does the plant music, when she puts the plant music onto the machine, the little plant music device, and when I've spoken my light language, they start to sing in response.
Oh,
And it's pretty magical. It's so magical. Well, Claire, anything else before we say goodbye?
no, I think that's it. Thanks,
Yeah.
Rose.
Yeah, you're very welcome. Please say with your words your channel's name on YouTube as well
Yeah.
as your website, please.
Yeah. So I just have my website and YouTube. So I'm not on Facebook or anywhere else, or Instagram. So my website is behindtheveilhealing.com, and my YouTube channel is Behind the Veil Activations.
Wonderful. Thank you,
Yeah,
Claire. Yes, thank you so much. Thank you for giving us your time. I absolutely love it. Always. Yes. And looking
absolutely.
forward to looking forward to you coming back. Thank you so much. Well, friends, thank you so much for joining us. I hope you've enjoyed our time together. Excuse the lighting. It's daytime in New Zealand, and I'm in a part of the house that's a little bit, I don't know, no matter how many lights we put on, it's still dark, but never mind. We did this conversation, even if it looked dark. I apologize. Thank you so much for joining us, friends, and I'll catch you next time here on Ananda Rose. Namaste. Bye.